Hi, I'm Loletta, and welcome to the Virtuous Lady, a channel that motivates, inspires, encourages, and our goal is to teach you through techniques, tips, and shortcuts, things that I've learned and things that I'm yet still learning. My goal is to share those with you. I want to welcome those that are tuning into our channel for the first time. I like to say welcome. And for those that are returning, I thank you for taking out the time to tune into this channel. I want to say that I love you all, and I pray that God bless you all and that you will enjoy the things that I have on this channel for you. Today I'm so excited. First of all, let me say that our goal on this channel also is to show you how to live your best life to the fullest. And in doing that, that's encompasses faith, health, and wealth, along with to-dos and learning how to entertain, how to do the best things for you and your family and your friends. So on this day, I'm so excited for this video. This is, we're going to be doing a patio series. And this is the first video on our patio series. And this will be on updating, revamping, or redoing patio pillows on a high-end level on a shoestring budget. We also be doing placemats as well to coordinate and bring everything together. And guess what? The cost of everything is under $20. And what you will get and what you will see is 5 pillows and 4 placemats for under $20. Now you can't beat that. So if you're excited about that and you want to know how I did that I'm sharing with you, please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Feel free to make any comments. I'd like to hear what you have to say after viewing. If it motivated you, if it's something you would do differently, and also hit the subscribe button. Hitting the subscribe button will keep you updated on videos that are coming out. We have new videos every week, every Wednesday that will be uploaded. This is the first video of our patio series. And then at the end, we will have our patio reveal. And I'm so excited about that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, these are some of the supplies that you will be needing. This is our fabric. This is going to be our contrasting fabric. We're going to use this for piping, just to add that dimension of color. You're going to need scissors, a seam ripper, thread, pins. This is our main fabric. We're doing ours in the tropical. So this is our main color fabric. And you're going to also need piping. They do have this piping on Amazon. I was in an upholstery shop for a little while, and before I left and relocated, I purchased this while she was putting her order through. So of course you're not going to need nothing this big. This will last me for a lifetime, pretty much. But I will leave the link in the description box below where you can pick up the plain piping. You can also use the piping that's already supplied that you can get in packages from many of the craft stores, Joann Fabrics or whatever, but I wanted to do my own piping. That way I can pick whatever color that I wanted. Okay. These are the lumbar pillows. This is the theme that I had before. And even though it's still in decent shape, I just wanted to change things up. And I knew changing it up wouldn't be that expensive if I already have the filling in the inside. This particular pillow right here, I've already taken it apart. And I pulled the filling out of it. So with this pillow, this was the original that I bought from Joann Fabrics some years back. And this was our color theme that we had back then. This year I'm going a little bolder. So make sure when you're picking fabric that you pick fabric that is outdoor fabric. Outdoor fabric, yes, it costs a little bit more, but with outdoor fabric, it's made to withstand the weather as far as mold and mildew, because many times our pillows are left out along with our cushions. And if you're not using the right fabric, it will tend to cause mold and mildew. And you don't want to put all the work into it and end up with something ruining. So this particular pillow is what we're going to work on first. This particular pillow here is 18 by 18. That's usually the standard size for patios. Sometimes they're a little smaller, but I like the 18 by 18 because this is the one that I had and it worked very well last year. So basically I just opened the bottom and I took out the filling. I turn it inside out and this becomes my pattern that I'm going to use to lay on top of my fabric to cut out the exact size that I need. Okay, this is the filling, maybe I can do it from this view, that came out. Sometimes they have actual pillows that's in there, but this is the actual filling that came out. It's in its regular form. It's already in the shape, so I'm going to keep it that way untouched. I just slid it right out the other pillow so that it will be able just to slide since it's the same size. And this is the material that I cut out. This is actually on the wrong side. To be honest with you, I made a couple and I didn't know where my piping was. And for some reason, it just wasn't popping like I wanted to. I took it apart and basically what I'm going to do now is add the popping, that pop of color, and I'll show you how to do the piping. Okay, I got the seams and everything out because remember I told you I had sewed this and didn't like how it looked. So what I did, I took the cording, the piping, and I started here and just went around the whole entire pillow. And when I went around it, I added about 3 more inches to it. And then I cut 2 more pieces because I have 3 pillows that I'm going to be redoing. So I have a total of 3 pieces that I already cut. Now we're going to get ready so we can get the piping started. Okay, I did go ahead and cut some strips of my accent fabric and about 2 inches wide. I did eyeball it. I did not measure because the inside is not going to show. And I just want to say something. Being a sewer, I realize that you are supposed to cut this on a bias to make the bias tape. But doing the pillow, you'll see that you really don't have to with a pillow. And I'll show you how it's going to look in the end. I'm going to re-angle my camera so that we can tune in and we can get everything pinned up. At least get started. Okay, I'm going to get started by sewing these pieces together. I cut out 3 to get started. And I'm going to leave a 3/8 seam allowance. Back stitching when you start and back stitching when you end, just to kind of give your fabric a little bit more reinforcement. Sewing is something I've been doing since I think 8th grade, off and on. One time I was making clothes for myself, that is. Now I just basically enjoy DIY projects, things for the house, little small projects that don't take a long time. Now I'm going to show you right way. It's not necessarily a wrong way here, but there's some shortcuts that I can get around. You have your long strip of piping. Of course, the right way is to lay this flat and iron it. I'm going to crease this with my hand, and when I get to that point, just to make sure that it's open. And what this does is just to prevent a lot of bulk and thickness. You want your piece to be as smooth as possible. So if this was pressed, it would look like this. So this is a shortcut. So I have my long piece, and I have one side of the pillow. So what I'm going to do is grab my piping, one piece of it, wrap this around. You don't want to start kind of like in the middle. You don't want to start at the top because it makes it too hard to end that way. You start it right about here, and I pin this in place right here. Now, a shortcut is normally you would sew your entire piping all together in one piece and then come back and restitch it. You can do that if you like to. And you want to start, don't start at the end, even though it's pinned right there. You want to start about 2 inches down. And I'll show you why at the end. Oh, one more thing I forgot. You have to use the right foot. Your zipper foot is the one that would allow you to get close to, as close as you can. Because when you're doing piping, you got to get real close to the actual rope, to the actual piping. Remember I said about 3 inches? 2 inches, I'm sorry. And you're going to put it down, put your presser foot down right there. And what I'm basically going to do is just sew this right along the edge. So this edge and this edge should go together. And what I'm doing is sewing real close to here. I'm not sewing on the edge. I'm sewing as close as I can to here. This will give you that nice, pretty finish. Okay, here we go. I'll pull everything, put the piping in the middle, fold it over. And when you get almost to the end, you just do a little snipping. I'm going to see if I can bring the camera in a little bit closer. Okay, hoping that you can see because the sun is really shining bright today. When I get to the end, I lift up the presser foot, turn the fabric around, and see those cuts in there? It just makes it easier. Piping takes a little, it's another step. It's not hard to do, but it just gives a big impact. And I'm going to do all 4 sides and come back. At this point, I can take the pin out. As you see, this overlaps, and I cut this long purposely. I'm just going to cut it down slowly, and I left this extra on here, so I'm going to cut this down slowly till I get the 2 ends of the piping to meet. So then I'm going to go ahead and just cut this. So this is the way it looks here. We got the 2 pieces. First I'm going to fold this over. Fold this in over because we want a nice finished piece on the end. And I'm going to take one piece and place it inside the other. And the 2 pipings shall meet. I'm going to pin it into place. This is how it turns out. So here you have it. The piping is sewed completely onto one side of the pillow. So I'm going to pin it in place, and I'm going to pin it to the outside. Okay, as you can see, it is all pinned all the way around. I pinned the 2 right sides together, making sure that the piping is going to be in the inside. This side, I only went a little over the corner because this is where I'm going to put the filling, the power filling back in, and I'm trying to keep it in a whole piece and not in pieces. Okay, I'm getting ready to get started sewing, and I'm going to sew this all the way around the front and back together. Cut the threads. I'm going to show you another important step too. It's something small but important. Your corners, as you can see, this has already been cut because I did take it loose. But for the sake of, you cut the corners. You want to give your edges a smooth look. You don't want it to be bulky. So this just removes a lot of the bulk by just cutting the edge. You don't want to cut into the seam. This is where the sewing part, there we go. Just zoomed in. And you just want to cut across. And any loose threads. This is the last one. Do all 4. Now you're ready to turn it inside out. And this is why we left that last one open here. I usually take my fingers and I poke the corners through. And you just invert it inside out. Now look how nice that looks. This was the finished piece. At the end, where we joined the 2 together, you can barely see it right here. Barely see it. So I'm taking the fabric and I'm just sliding this in. And just take your time. There's nothing that's going to take a long time to do. But if I was lucky enough to get it all in one piece the way it came out, I wouldn't have to fluff it. We're going to pin this into place after we make sure that the corners are filled. And what I'm going to do is grab this part and just fold it over and pin it into place as I'm holding it. So I'm going to grab it, fold it over, and lay it and pin it. Grab it, fold it. I'm folding it basically about 3/8 of an inch, which is what I sewed originally. I sewed the whole thing. All the seams were about 3/8. One thing you do if you're not sure on how to, I could eyeball all of this, but if not, you can always press this, bend it over, fold it over and press it first. And by doing that, you will automatically have a fold line that you can work with. So this is how the top is. Everything is pinned and is ready to sew. Still keeping the zipper put in. I just lay this right on top. And of course I got my pins container so I can put my pins in. The sewing backstitch. Now to give you a look, this is what it looks like. That pop of color makes a big difference. Now the accent pillows are going to be a solid pink. I learned this from a lady that taught me upholstery. When you're doing polyfill, you just want to push it down and make sure that all the corners, that the polyfill is distributed evenly. You don't want a big hump in the middle. So this is the finished one that I just did with you together. Now this is the original pillow that I did. I did 3 of them and I really didn't care. It just seemed like it was just missing something. This is the same pillow. This is the one with the piping. Once I put the piping on, it was just screaming that this is what it needed. So give me your opinion. Do you like the original one with no piping or the one with piping? Now you see that I made sure that all the stripes that they matched on both sides. And that's when you're dealing with a print. A lot of times it's a little bit more difficult, but long as it's what you want. And make sure that you just buy a little extra fabric. What I did want to say that the fabric that I purchased, I always purchase, if I don't have a coupon, I won't purchase anything if there's no coupon out. I got this, they had a 60% coupon. And I was able to purchase the fabric and the contrast with the 60% off coupon. This is regularly, outdoor fabric tends to run a little bit higher. This is regularly $21.99. It was Tommy Bahama. And I got 60% off of that. Anyway, I ended up spending $8.79 for a yard. And I did get a yard of the pink. And I got a yard of the of this fabric. So for under $20, I was able to do three pillows, 3 18-inch pillows, and 2 lumbar pillows, which are the lower back pillows. These are the lumbar pillows. Lumbar pillows are usually pillows that are around your lower back area that fit in right above the seat area where you sit. These are the ones that I had sewed. There was no form or anything. I just cut it and I sewed them, and I did do two-tone on these. But the pillows that I'm going to be making are just going to be the solid pink. I'm going to also put the piping on there as well to make it stand out. So the first thing I'm going to do, as I did before, is just to remove the fabric. Okay, I have my seam ripper, and I had hand sewed this, so I'm just kind of loosening the stitch so it'll pull apart. And this just helps you to get to it a lot easier. Now I can use my scissors and just snip it. Snip and pull. And what I'm going to do is just pull this out. Pull the polyfill out and turn the fabric again upside down. I grab it from the corners and pull it to me. Because the opening is smaller than I normally do, this is not going to go in one piece, but that's quite all right. Okay, I have this emptied, and I'm going to turn it inside out because of course I have to get a pattern. And since I am updating, this will be my pattern, so everything will fit perfectly back in here. Nevertheless, I'm on my kitchen counter, and I do apologize, and we're working on getting better equipment now as far as cameras so that I can bring you clear videos. So I'm on my kitchen counter now. What I did, this is the fabric, this is the pillow that I took apart, the lumbar pillow, and I turned inside out. And what I'm going to do is just cut it here, and this is the fold edge. I'm going to cut it down here as well, just to get a perfect square. And I'll be right back. Okay guys, I did go ahead and I cut this to size, and I did cut the end so it's completely open all the way around. And what I did, as I did before, I took piping, I kind of measured it all the way around, and I left about 3 inches extra. I got plenty of it, so you can probably use 2, but I use about 3 inches extra so that I can mesh the 2 pieces together at the end. And this will be the same color that I'm using, that I'm making the lumbar pillow with. So the piping in the pillow will be the same color, but you can also use contrasting fabric or piping as well. So let me go and get this sewed together. Okay, as you can see, the piping is all sewed on this one piece. It's sewed all the way around. And what I'm going to do is take the other piece. Now, by this fabric not being a large pattern, you really don't have to match it up. You don't have to match the ends and stripes, or there's nothing really to match up. So what I'm going to do now is just pin this down. I went ahead and I pinned all the ends together. As you can see, everything has been pinned. I stopped here and I left a gap for filling, and I went ahead and pinned around. Now as I flip this over, you will see the piping that's here. This is where the piping that I sewed onto this piece of fabric. So when I go to sew on the other side, I will be sewing real close to the edge. Okay, I'm going to start working on the placemats, and I'm just going to show you one, but we're going to actually, it's supposed to have been 4, but I lost the footage, so I had enough material to do this 5th one, and this will just be for a spare. You're going to need your fabric, needed some type of backing. You're going to need your measuring tape, scissors, and your pins. This is a lot simpler than basically doing the pillows. There's no piping or nothing involved. So what I did, I adjusted this to fit mine. I made it a little shorter than the standard. So this is 16, about 16 inches long. And the depth of it
is 12 inches. I made it this way, that way it will be longer going toward the center of the umbrella pole, and it'll be shorter on the end so they wouldn't overlap one on the other. So after doing this, you pretty much cut the fabric to be your backing. And this fabric, I just picked this up at Walmart. And you lay it down and you just pin it in place. Lay it right on top to the two right sides together. Okay, as you can see, I have all of these sides pinned. I did gonna leave a portion open just so I can turn it inside out. Pardon me, this is the scraps that was left. So I'm just gonna walk you through this quickly. What I'm gonna do is start sewing here, go all the way around, and then just a little piece here. And I'll be right back. Okay, what I'm going to do then, as before, I clipped the ends, as you can see, so it won't be any bulk. And I did that to 4 corners. Now I'm going to turn it inside out. Remember, I left that piece open. You can use any coordinating fabric. I chose black because the tropical theme that I'm going with has a lot of black in it, and green, some blues, and I did not want to introduce another color in there. As before, I'm going to take my scissors and just push it to the corners so I can have the corners more defined right here. Now I'm going to do it to all 4 corners. I don't want to round it, I want them to be more pointed. And just make sure that you don't press it all the way through. I'll lay it this flat. Taking another shortcut. Normally you would sew it first, iron it first. But what I'm going to do, top stitching across the top. I am not going to iron it until I'm actually done. So I'm just pulling the seams together where the 2 fabrics meet, and just make sure that it's at the end. I'm doing about a 1/4 inch seam allowance from the edge. Didn't want it too wide, but I didn't want it too narrow. This is very, very simple. This is just basically this would be a project for beginners. All straight stitching. I know also you can use fabric glue for a no-sew approach. And at the end, what I'm doing is just tucking it in like I did the other. And actually, I'm going to pin it in place right here to show you. And you just want it to have a nice, clean finish on the end. Everything about sewing is basically making sure that your seams are straight, that, to give you that nice high-end finish. You don't want your projects to look like something you made. One more side. Oh, ran out of thread. I'm going to take a second here and rethread my bobbin. Okay, bobbin's all rethreaded. I'm just going to overstitch this. I'm basically stitching on top of the stitch where I left off, overlapping it. That way I really don't have to back stitch on that. Remember, you're pulling it to the end. Trying to stretch it out. When you stitch on top of a pre-existing stitch, it kind of makes it blend in and it doesn't stand out. You snip your threads. Now what I forgot to mention, those are not sewers. This is the zipper foot. This is what you use when you're trying to get really close. They call it a zipper foot because this is what you basically use to put zippers in. But this is what I use to do the piping. Now with this one, because there was no piping involved, this is just a regular standard foot. presser foot. And it's fab. So this is what I needed on this one. I didn't need the zipper foot, just a regular standard foot on that. And I'm just going to show you quickly. I'm going to move this. Show you quickly how this turned out. Oh, I got a couple more threads here. Gotta be cut. That's when my thread broke and I had to reconnect it. Well, rethread my bobbin. I try to get as close as possible because I really don't like no thread showing. I guess that's a perfectionist part of me. This is the way it turned out. And even though it needs pressing on the back, you can see that it's flat. The back is not showing through the front. Front is not showing through the back. This is my 5th placemat. So you see how fast this was. It was just run right through it right quick. It didn't take long.
Okay, I just remeasured the placemats after the 5-inch seam allowance. It measured 15 wide by 12. So I still think that's a good size. Of course, as I said, you can make yours larger or smaller. I am so excited today to be able to bring this DIY to you. I want to show you what $20 and some change can make. Of course, if you didn't have black fabric or fabric to go on the opposite side, as you see, what I purchased was only $4 and I got 2 yards of it, which I really didn't need, but I've already had that on hand. So out of $20 and some change, I was able to make 4 placemats out of leftover fabric. I made 2 lumbar pillows to go on, and I also made 3 18 by 18 pillows. So this gives you a high-end look. What I like about piping, it gives you a very high-end look. And I was able to make it what I would have spent for 1 pillow, between $15 to $20. I was able to make 3 pillows. And the coordinating lumbar pillow, I still got some lumps. I just have to smash it out. That'll take a few minutes. And 4 placemats. Now you're talking about saving, you're talking about budget. This is excellent. So it just lets you know that you can take something, it doesn't have to be real expensive, but you can take something, and when you DIY things, you can get so much more bang for your buck. A high-end fabric, high-end details on a shoestring budget. Hi, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was an inspiration, motivation, and encouragement to you. I can say that I truly enjoyed putting it together for you. It was fun. And if you like this video, stay tuned. There's 2 more pieces coming. The last piece is the patio reveal, that you'll see everything all compiled and put together. So if you like this video, please feel free to go ahead and push that like and share button. And don't forget to subscribe. That way you'll be notified of, and a notification bell, I should say, so you'll be notified of the upcoming videos. At this time, I'm saying bye for now. Love you, and I'll see you in the next video. Be blessed.